In the morning, shade 4-5. I'm just going to say a few things and you guys can react to it as you hear it. Because sometimes when you're in the presence of royalty, you shouldn't take it for granted. When we talk about this music business, the people that have sustained through the various eras with a certain uniqueness, a signature sound about themselves, that's what it means to me to be a well-rounded artist. That's how you stand the test of time. That's how you become an artist who's won 7 Grammy Awards at least, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
7 American Music Awards at least, ladies and gentlemen. 9 Billboard Music Awards, 4 Soul Train Music Awards, NAACP Image Award. Please welcome the one who sold over 67 million records, the one and only Toni Braxton. Break my... No, don't do it.
I say do it. I say do it.
Unbreak my heart.
That's how I sound?
No, that's how I sound when I sing with you, though, Toni. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How you been?
I'm good. I've been missing you. I hadn't seen you in a while.
I know. What's that about?
I'm trifling. I'm going to have to work on it.
Yeah, when I see you around. I see you're out. You're posting a lot of pictures, and I see you having a lot of fun activities. I'm not getting any invites to any of this.
Nothing?
Nobody sent me anything.
I'm sorry. I'm going to work on it. We're going to talk.
Okay. That sounds so generic, Toni.
No, I promise.
You promise?
I'm trying not to tell our business on the air.
Oh,
you know how we do it.
You don't.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay, we won't
It's
do that.
about to go a whole different direction.
It could, but I'm trying to be good, Heather. You told me to be good when Toni comes.
Yeah, behave yourself.
Because you're a part of many things. You got new music that's out right now. You got the Deadwood song, right? Yeah. And that's from a forthcoming album.
Yeah.
And it's called
Sex and Cigarettes.
Let's talk about that title. All right? Shall we, everybody? Let's talk about that
title. Provocative.
So good.
Sex and Cigarettes. Do you smoke cigarettes?
I smoke cigars.
Okay, honey. Okay.
Damn.
Yeah, nice scotch. 1 ice cube and a cigar by myself. I'm good.
That's it. Do you do that after or before sex, or do they just come hand in hand?
Whenever I need it.
Okay. How often do you need it?
Gosh, I don't want you to know all my business. You know what? It just relaxes me sometimes, and sometimes it's good after.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Good at
That's probably too much information.
That's
right?
a lot of information.
Told you it was going to go a whole other direction.
It's starting to go a whole other direction.
I love it.
For you right now, this is your 8th album. What do you sing about in the 8th album?
Well, it's a lot of pre and post sex.
Okay.
On this album. That's why I said about what I said with Sex and Cigarettes. It's a song on the album like, how do I explain it? Girls. Let me talk to my ladies.
Okay, please do.
Have you ever had a guy that came to your bed smelling like sex and cigarettes?
Oh,
whoa.
No, not literally.
Okay.
Meaning the scent of somebody else he's been with, or they. You know what I mean?
You could just tell.
You ever smell another woman?
No, you just know.
The intuition
Yeah,
starts
the
ringing.
intuition is letting you know something's going on.
Yes.
Right? And that's what the album's kind of about.
Got it.
How do you know, though? Like
women intuition.
We just know.
We just know.
Yeah, an alarm goes off.
But a lot of us, we would shower before we go to the...
But it's not even about that. It's not the physical per se. It's more so about we can always tell when our guys out there doing their thing.
Energy. Can't wash off that sin.
You can't.
Okay, Toni Braxton, can you tell us what the signs are? Like, how can you tell? What do we do that gives us away?
I was working late.
But I was.
That's one.
Okay.
That's the first one.
Okay.
Point 1.
Okay.
Can't tell all the girls' secrets.
What like?
My man's in them. Every time it's a story about this guy. It's always something. It's a story. Y'all have patterns that you don't realize that you have, and we can instantly tell when you outside of that mood.
Absolutely.
And when all of a sudden you've been wearing unforgivable Sean John for like 13 years, and then you want to come in here with some room service. It's like, nigga, you really spent $185 on a bottle of perfume. You don't even know what that is, but somebody let you get a whiff, and now you done changed up your scent. No, I got you.
That's happened to you before, where a man has come into the room, the bedroom, with a different scent?
I won't say. I won't perjure myself.
Okay. All right. Toni being very cryptic with her. With her, you the one who put it out there. It's sex and cigarettes.
Not out yet. When it's out, then I'll tell all the, the tea.
Okay, but I'm trying to find out what goes on. All right, what's another?
I'm intrigued. I was gonna say when your phone is always dead at the wrong time, and it feels very convenient.
Or you turn it off.
Right. You've turned
When
it
you're
off,
with me.
but you call it dead.
Yeah.
Oh, so
the guys are all silent. Did you hear that?
Them buckets are nervous.
That's the sound of guilt.
Yeah. Or they say to you, baby, you gonna eat that white rice? You sure you should have that? 'Cause, like, how you know about carbs?
I'm diet.
Tell that chick to stay out of my business, whoever you're talking to. You know?
How you know about carbs?
That is not a guy conversation,
Exactly.
right? So they turn the phone off when they're with you. That's a sign.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's a lot of 2-phone bandits running around here too. That double phone thing, sway.
I got 2 phones, but this for a reason, though.
I know it is. It's always for a reason.
One for your what? I got 2 phones. One for my. Okay.
No. One is
Listen to this stutter.
Toni. One is paid for by Viacom, the company I work with,
Got
have
it.
worked with for 17 years. They take care of the business.
I
phone.
got it. Well,
The
I
no-
think Sway is a gentleman.
Thank you.
I do.
You do.
He's cool.
In the 90s, we probably would have dated if we had met each other.
In the 90s.
Wow. Why you say
No
that? What do you
hope
like
anymore.
about Sway?
What you say?
No, man, that's when I first got in the business, I'm saying.
Yeah.
No
Because
hope
he's
now.
smart. He was like our Twitter before there was Twitter. He would keep us up on all our social events. He's a really smart guy, and I'm
Yeah.
attracted to smart guys like to be titillated mentally.
Right.
Damn, thank you, Toni.
In the 90s, you had a shot.
Right.
Yeah,
just being honest.
my 90s self was very happy.
Right. What happened to the 2000s?
Yes. My 90s self got it popping.
Why would you even put that out there? Like,
Right.
no, back in the 90s, you could have got it. Like,
You should have kept the locks,
You was
Sway.
fly back then.
Why'd you cut the locks?
Damn, man.
I just said that because I just got into the business. I got married in 2001, you know,
That's
so
true.
This is
that
true.
was like
This is
before
true.
I was married.
And you married somebody I know.
See?
Say yeah, so it would have had to be the 90s. You wouldn't. I would have been different in the 90s though. You would have met the Octagon.
Toni,
Oh,
you know you
you
want
were
to
a bad boy in the 90s? Just
I don't want to
okay.
perjure myself.
Okay. It's never going to let me forget that one.
Yeah, that was good. You know, well, I'm looking forward. We were talking about you earlier, and we were talking about, you know, at a certain point, artists reach a certain level in the game, you know, and that you just, for life, for a career, you're going to respect what they do. You know, if I remember seeing Cher perform at the Billboard Music Awards last year, and it was like one of the most exciting things I've ever seen. You know, I love when I see a Tamia perform or a Deborah Cox perform, or, you know, I would love to see a Anita Baker perform. You know, these are artists who have been tried and true throughout their entire career. I put you in that category of an artist that I would love to see perform for your entire career. So congratulations to you.
Yeah, no
You know,
doubt.
and you've been through so much, but I don't want to go back into all of that stuff.
But that's how I got here.
Yeah, that's how you got here, right? What are you going to do different now with this album in terms of how you approach, you know, branding, marketing, proprietorship, all those things?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any ideas?
I got plenty of
to me.
ideas that you could, you know, I will do that off air too.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to bring, when we talk, it'll be my 90s. I'll bring my 90s me to the conversation. All right. We're going to open up the phone lines, 888-742-3345. This is Toni's latest single. It's called Deadwood. It's out now. We're going to talk about our new TV movie, Faith Under Fire, premiering January 27th. That's Saturday on Lifetime at 8 p.m. Call us. I just recently watched called Faith Under Fire, which tells the story of Antoinette Tuff, who was a single mom from Georgia. And she averted a serious tragedy, saving hundreds of lives, like at a school ground in Georgia that had a student body of maybe about 813 kids in it. And this woman was able to talk the gunman out of actually who was dead set on killing people to make a point, to bring attention to himself, who was also suffering from mental, he had mental disease, he was bipolar. And the woman's name was Antoinette Tuff. DB talked about her earlier. She was interviewed by, she was spoken about by Barack Obama.
Yeah, Barack spoke about her, and then Anderson Cooper, she sat down with him, and she basically gave her account. She even wrote a book, which this movie is based on, and you executive produced this film, by the way, because you were inspired by her story. And I'm just wondering, I mean, what kind of things, it's obvious what is portrayed in the film, but what kind of things did she say to you personally that were going through her mind, you know, just about like the day she was having, because she was almost tempted to commit suicide, not knowing what she would walk into it later that day at the school?
I didn't get to meet her until the first day of shooting, and she told me that when the gunman first came into the room, the office, and he pointed the gun at her, she said she thought someone was playing a joke. She thought she was being punked or something.
Mm-hmm.
And once she realized it was real, it was a surreal moment for her. And she remembered, this is going to be crazy, she had to go to the bathroom. She couldn't stop having to go to the bathroom, but she tried to just be calm and think of all those kids, because the kids were just around the corner. And she said it was her faith in God. She's very religious, very spiritual, and it was her faith that made her just be strong enough to talk this guy out of killing 800 and something people, including himself.
The movie was so intense, and normally, and I watch it at nighttime, and I don't, you know, I veer away from intense movies at nighttime because I tend to take them to sleep with me. You do that too?
Yeah, I do.
You knew I knew that. I'm sorry. My bad. I was keeping it professional. One of the things I noticed, I sat up and watched the whole movie, and there were scenes when it would be tension, and Antoinette wouldn't know what to do. By the way, you really embodied this woman.
Thank you.
Like, I wasn't looking at Toni Braxton when I was watching the screen. I thought you did an excellent job. One of the things she would do is she would constantly talk about her story, her pain, what she was, you know, what went through her day.
Yeah.
Whether it was with her son, you know, who had a disease.
Yeah, special needs. Yeah.
Special needs. And then she would pray.
Yes.
Consistently.
Loudly.
Even when the guy would say, shut up. You grew up in the church. Did that upbringing you had help you execute in those parts of playing her role?
I understood, especially when she was repeating the 23rd number of songs. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of death. I mean, she kept repeating that exactly over and over again. And I remember as a kid, whenever we were taught, whenever you felt afraid, just keep reciting that scripture. And I understood so much about her being a single mom, feeling that feeling of hopelessness, like, how am I going to make it through the day? How am I going to do this? You feel alone and by yourself. And I just every image of her I viewed, every interview she did, I listened to, and I really embodied her. I gained 17 pounds. Not that she was 17 pounds heavier, but I didn't want people to see Toni Braxton, the artist. I've gained 7 of it back since then, though. But, but seriously, though, it was a really hard. It was a meaty role, but it was heavy. So after I would shoot the movie that evening, I had to watch something like Sex and the City or something funny, just to get my mind off of it. It was really heavy, and afterwards, I definitely needed a vacation. Acting, you see them on television, you go, "Oh, I could have done that." No, you couldn't have. It's serious. It's hard work, and sometimes I get why after a big role they have to take a break or go to something else immediately so they can get rid of that energy. Not get rid of it in a negative sense, but sometimes when things are heavy, it lives with you longer.
What was it about this story that made you want to be a part of the project?
Actually, I was in Canada. I was on the treadmill, and I was watching the news, and I'm like, oh, what's going on in Atlanta? Because I'm kind of from there. And I remember when Anderson Cooper was talking to her afterwards. I just remember like FBI and SWAT teams were there in Atlanta at schools. And I followed her story a bit. So to have the opportunity to, when I got the script, I'm like, I know this story. So I was immediately intrigued and had to do it.
At the end of the movie, you see clips of her speaking on CNN, and then you hear the president, Barack Obama, talking about her story as well. And then you hearing her speak after the movie, I thought was interesting because you could still see the similarities. It was like, even though we knew it was you, but here's how she sounds and what she had to say.
At one point, I just started feeling sorry for him. He should have went to the hospital, and, he hadn't taken his medicine in a while. So I knew that I wasn't actually speaking to someone that was in their right state of mind. And I knew that I could help somebody. God sent people, my pastor and people and friends and families in my path to help me through. And I knew at that point in time that he needed me, and I was the only person there.
Okay. Yeah. Powerful woman.
Very.
Right?
Brave woman. I mean, this man hated her, but she showed him love. And through that love, she was able to persuade him to not kill anyone. So it was a happy ending.
Yeah. It was
Not that type of happy ending.
Yeah, but
a
a
happy
happy end. Back on sex and cigarettes. Here we go, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Oh my
I was
God.
trying to have a real, talk about the acting. Y'all saw me, right? I was doing a deep dive.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay if we do that to each other.
I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
So I have a question. The timing of it is so interesting, especially what we learned yesterday was shooting in
Yes.
Kentucky that happened. And we've been seeing much more frequently shootings happening in schools across the country from elementary, middle school, and high school. By you playing on this role and having to adapt to a character such as that young man, do you see these school shootings differently in terms of how we're having that conversation around the country? We're so quick to go to either 2 points, either criminalization or mental health. Do you see a nuance of it, or do you still see it as black and white?
It's kind of tough because it was important to the director that you got a glimpse of what was going on inside of that room, the viewers. And when I was thinking about it, I'm like, that's really smart, because he wanted it to be just me and the gunman, so you could see. When the gunman when he said to me, my Medicare, I don't know if they kept this in the movie or they cut it out, his Medicare was dropped. He didn't have any insurance, so he couldn't be on his meds. So we know mental health and guns kind of go together. Not exactly salt and pepper, but it goes together. But in addition to that, I'm not a political person. I'm here to make you, I'm like a cardiologist of the heart. Okay, I sing sad love songs and make you feel better, to be honest, But what I love about the movie is that it touches a little bit. It makes you have to become active. I'm a mom. I have kids who go to school. So how do I feel about guns and things like that? I don't know enough about the laws to talk about it, but I love that it touches about it. It's going to make people have a conversation. What can we do? We have our kids in school where there's no security in all the schools. That doesn't work. Kids still get the guns in. Now they're talking about teachers having guns, which could be crazy. But, I'm not an expert on this situation, so I don't really know what to say.
Do you own a gun?
I'm not going to perjure myself.
Given the situation and kind of what Mike Muse was saying about these school shootings, especially the one that just happened yesterday, do they look at what she did and her approach into diffusing the situation as a universal way of maybe approaching people who come into schools, because this is happening so frequent now? Do they suggest that you talk to them? Or
They didn't in this movie. The agent that was there with the 911 caller or operator was telling her she's not a negotiator. What is she doing? She shouldn't be doing this. She was able to negotiate. Maybe that's a tactic they should have or include in schools, perhaps. It's really, what do you think? Like, honestly, what do you think? Because it could help inspire me to think differently.
I mean, to me, it kind of seems like you have to approach each situation depending on the circumstances, because he was mentally sick and needed somebody to talk to get his problems off his chest. Other people are just dead set and they don't want to talk to anybody. So you never know where they're at mentally,
Or the simple notion that sometimes people just really need to understand their calling. Like there's a purpose in life. That was a specific anointing and purpose put on that woman's life. And she was obedient what was on her spirit to carry through, because you could have gotten any so-called professional negotiator in the world. If that person wasn't anointed to do that position, things could have went a totally different way.
I love that. Absolutely.
Okay. Yep.
And Toni, since this film is also a reminder that you're beyond a singer, you're an artist, so you can tap dance up and down the spectrum of creativity. And it reminded me that you celebrated a huge birthday in October, your 50th birthday.
50.
Woo!
Looking
Spectacular. What's your adjective, Sway? Chill out already.
50 this
Look
year.
at his T-shirt too today. Is that why?
What does it say?
Wow, Heather, you wild.
Raw.
What you want to say to that, Toni?
So I just got that one. Loser. Okay, got it. I got it.
Well, Toni,
Wore that for you. Jesus.
with all of your accomplishments throughout all of the years, which one is most important to you? And also, well, actually, outside of what we know, which accomplishment is important to you? Maybe like in your personal life. And what else do you want to do since you've already checked off so much?
I'm very blessed. I can't deny. I've had a lot of ups and downs, but like I was saying, I'm still here, and that's what's important for me. I have kids to live for. When I think of it, if I had to do one thing, singing is what I love. That's organic for me. It's in my DNA. Music, I think, can heal the world. I do really feel that. I don't know what I want to do next. I know that sounds crazy. Maybe Toni. Toni needs a Toni. I don't know. But I would really like to get a little bit more into politics.
Huh.
A little more into politics.
I would like to discover a little bit more about it. I think our Constitution, and no one has to scroll and say, well, I know that. Let me recite that, pull it out. We don't really know it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means even when I read it. So I have to break it down a little bit and take social studies all over again. But I'm trying to educate myself. And I think the blessing in the politics that's happening with our government is everyone's becoming more involved now.
Yes.
We're learning about our Constitution and what's going on in our country.
Yeah. I'm going to make a suggestion. You listen to Sirius XM, obviously. Yeah. Mike Muse has a new show called The Mike Muse Show. It's on POTUS every Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern. He's our political insight. He's worked for a couple of presidents, mayors. He does a lot of that work, and he breaks it down for our audience. So maybe you guys could kind of.
I would love that.
Yes. Okay.
And I suggest you tune in this Saturday, actually, at 1 p.m. I actually have Common and Andre Day on discussing this because it's my belief that artists are activists. And far too long, we've only allowed artists to be an artist, and we made them feel guilty or uninformed about speaking their voice. But what I say is I counter that, and I say that you just being your authentic self. I think the reason why your character, the real-life individual, did so well is because she found the human existence through this monster. And so once you said just now through Medicaid, Medicare, that's when she realized, oh, this isn't a monster. This is a human being who no longer is on his medication. Let me talk to him as such. Yes. And so those are the through lines of that. So as an artist, you are an activist. You don't need to be qualified. It's just your human experience and your existence.
I love that. Thank you. Please help me.
I will.
That's honest. No, really vulnerable.
I got you.
You know, when I look at you and I look at your hands and I see on that one finger that just keeps it's lower than the finger got so much weight on it that it can't even hold up level to the other fingers. Can you explain that ring?
Yes, I can. Despite what my sister Tamar said, I am not married.
You're not married.
No.
Okay. Are you engaged?
Right. I'm not married.
She doesn't want to perjure herself.
I don't want to. Oh, that's me. I forgot about that.
Yes,
I remember my own words. I don't want to perjure myself. Ask me again, am I married?
Are you married?
I don't want to perjure myself.
You don't want to perjure yourself, but that's a nice.
But I'm not married.
You're not. But can I see your ring?
Yes, you can see.
This is a beautiful ring.
Right.
What the?
What happens?
I love jewelry, don't you?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Did you buy that for yourself?
I got it for my birthday.
Okay.
It's a birthday gift.
It's a birthday gift. Okay.
No, really, it's really a birthday gift.
No, we say who bought it though.
No, it's really a birthday gift.
Okay. Did you buy it? But you didn't buy it for yourself.
Who buys a gift for themselves? I guess girls, we do sometimes.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
We do.
Well, I'm not going to speak on the obvious, so I'm not going to even bring that up. We're talking about movies and albums today.
You back in the 90s.
I'm back in the 90s. It's the 90s me. We need to talk about that.
Take it to the
Who
90s.
bought her the ring?
So bad.
You're going to be produced. You produced this movie.
Yes.
You produced on this album.
Yes.
This is Toni Braxton stepping into her new self.
Yes, producing. Babyface told me it's time for you to start producing. So with 2 songs he and I wrote together, he wasn't there at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just said, okay, you know what to do, and just left out the studio.
Well, congratulations.
No doubt.
All right. You guys, check out this movie, Faith Under Fire, Saturday, 8 p.m. on Lifetime. It's a great movie. Sit around with the kids. It's something that the family can watch. You know, some violence, but nobody loses a life in it.
Exactly.
Okay, so I will say that. I don't want to give away too much. And look for the album Sex and Cigarettes. That's going to come soon, okay? When the album comes out, come back and see us.
I promise.
All right?
You know I'll be here.
Boy, you giggling at everything.
Toni got me giggling right there.
Thank you, Toni, for coming through. Get him out.
I'm just impressed by her get back right there.
Pull out, Sway.
Quick.
No, don't use that word.
Don't.
He's back.
That's why I wore the shirt, Heather. Toni, thank you, okay? Congratulations. Absolutely. All right, tomorrow morning we got Robert Glasper who's going to join us. We're going to do our jam session. Some of the names that we have locked in, maybe Toni Braxton might come back and join us. Who's to say? Maybe. Okay, tomorrow morning we're going to have the likes of Anthony Hamilton and the Hamiltones performing live with Robert Glasper. Talib Kweli performing live with Robert Glasper. Cassidy, Rhapsody, Freeway. We got Oswin Benjamin, that young man over there who's going to be performing live as well. Jussie Smollett hit me, said he's going to try to catch an early flight so he can make it. You know Jussie from Empire. He's going to be here as well, and maybe even Toni Braxton. Who's to say?
Yeah.
I don't want to perjure myself. That's why I said maybe. All right. Mike Muse, how can you be reached?
At I am Mike Muse, M-U-S and Sam E on Instagram and Twitter.
DB.
It's really DB everywhere.
OQ Shoots on Instagram.
Citizens, Twitter and Instagram at It's Tracy G.
I'm at the Happy Hour, WHB.
Tony, how can they reach you? Social media.
Toni Braxton.
Okay, that's DJ Wonder.
Hey.
All right, I'm at Real Sway across the board. Lord Sears up next. Until tomorrow, we have nothing left to say.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45.